Welcome to episode 31 of the Eating Crow podcast. I'm just kidding. It's the David Binkowski podcast. I'm just doing a follow-up to episode 30 with my friend Arturo. And almost everything we said was the opposite of what was supposed to happen. Well, not everything, but you know what I'm saying. I know you know what I'm saying. I stand by Rob Will. I still do. Even after that Game 5 loss, I still stand by Rob Will. He, for the Celtics, has been and still is a difference maker. And he had the best plus-minus for the team, even though they lost. His plus-minus was still great. And they tried everything they could to play him. He played a lot of minutes, but just wasn't enough. But yeah, the Celtics just collapsed. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. The bench, you expect, again, on the road, the bench to not play as well, but holy hell. And when you shorten your rotation up, it was a game that, you would expect them to have somebody do something. And it just didn't happen. It didn't happen. Since I'm taking a nice giant bite of crow here, let's talk about Andrew Wiggins. I questioned him in the last episode as being the number 2 guy. And of course, in doing so, once I questioned him, he turned around and said, "Hey, go fuck yourself, Binkowski." So, I'll 100% own it. I 1,000% admit it, but he's been fantastic. And I'm sorry, if you predicted this, you're full of shit. Let's just get that out of the way right now. If you predicted that Andrew Wiggins would be the key to the Golden State Warriors winning and that he'd have 2 record-setting performances with rebounds, personal records, then you're full of shit. Sorry. No one predicted that. He did it in consecutive games. You have to give it to him. He was absolutely a difference maker. And, whether it's, Draymond or Looney, they have guys who are on the floor who are supposed to be the primary rebounder, so to speak. And you know what? Wiggins stepped up and said, I can help with that. And again, I play basketball here in Puerto Rico, and I'm also probably the tallest person in every league I play in. And I get a lot of attention around the rim. And so I fully 100% appreciate when a teammate, especially a guard, sees that, because what it does is present an opportunity for them. And, when you get those rebounds, offensive gives you another possession, defensive, it takes away an offensive possession for the other team. And that's what this entire series has come down to. It's really about who gets the most possessions. And as we know, the Celtics are turning the ball over like crazy. And so those are big things. That's a huge thing that he did, and a thing that he recognized needed to be done. And if it was Kerr that told him to do it, props to him. But again, being more cognizant of being the second guy to get the rebound when you're only big on the floor is getting a big body put on him, and there's absolute attention to detail so that he can't get that rebound. To have that guard step in is huge. And again, give credit to Steve Kerr. There's also another prevailing theme here, and this is something that's not how the Celtics have played since February. Which is slop. I mean, they're just sloppy. And, when you have that many turnovers predicting whether you win or lose every game, when it's that clear cut, that's a problem. We're not talking about, we had 8 turnovers, we had 10 turnovers, we had 12 turnovers. The barometer is 16. Like, that's 16. And again, give credit where credit's due. Give credit to the Warriors defense. But, they're not sharing the ball. The Celtics, that is. They're just not sharing the ball. And they're taking these awful drives to the basket. The Warriors made an adjustment. Again, credit to Kerr. They made the adjustment to have the defender who's supposed to be guarding the corner three-point shooter slide in. And I can't explain it. Any of us that have played before know that when you see a double team coming, your job is to get rid of the ball. That's your job. And they're showing it, and they showed it repeatedly. And all you have to do is kick it out. You kick it out for a made three. In the last series, that would have been Grant Williams, right? Draining threes. And like, I have to ask Grant Williams, where the hell are you, man? You know, I even to the point that I'm so perplexed with how he's playing. And I don't know if it's fatigue. I don't know if it's something else. But like, that is not the same dude that we watched previously, just drain three after three after three. And, you know, if you're a Grant Williams of the world or any Celtics bench player, you have to look yourself in the mirror and ask, what are you doing, man? You know, I don't know if they're fatigued. I don't think it's a matchup issue. You know, I know the Warriors have been going small, but man, the whole bench, the entire bench did not show up in game 5. And, you know, the Pritchards of the world and the Grant Williams of the world, you're supposed to come off the bench to help your team. And I get it. It's a road game. You may not have your best stuff, but Jesus, man, this is bad. So, you know, in my opinion, that comes down to a couple things. Number one, coaching and putting guys in the right situation to have success. It also comes down to leadership. And so, you know, when you have that many turnovers, and again, you might be driving to the basket and, you know, as you start to get by your man, that second guy steps in. If it was a charge, I'd get it. If it was, I would understand if it was a charge because you're just head down going to the basket. But these passes that are coming out of these double teams, they're sloppy, and the decision making is just too slow. And I don't know if that's just youth or being stubborn, but you know, if you play the game, if you coach the game, you're always looking for the open man. You're always looking for the extra pass. And the Celtics did do that. I mean, they're capable of doing that. So for whatever reason, I'm not sure what it is as to why they feel like playing selfish basketball is all of a sudden the answer. But you can really start to see a young team in game 5 tighten the hell up, like tighten up. And again, NBA Finals, never been there. Game 5, tons of pressure on the road. That could be it. The Warriors have been there before, although let's be honest, Poole's never been there before, right? Wiggins never been there before. They've got guys who are stepping up and doing it, and quite frankly, the Celtics did not in Game 5. Now, of course, I just said that, and Tatum and Brown will go for 30 points tonight. And I'll be eating more crow, but you know, it's a slight adjustment. Is when the double team slides over, you drive and you kick, and that's it. That's all you have to do. And my hope for Game 6 is that it's more competitive. The Celtics learned, you know, you're there, and even Ime said in his post game interview, we're not worried about our defense. And quite honestly, like, they're really not doing anything poorly defensively other than not boxing out Wiggins. You know, they're holding the Warriors to the low 100s. I mean, that's a high powered offense. So the ability to do that is good. I mean, but defense really isn't the problem. You know, turnovers are one of the big problems. The other thing that's really decided, we talk about there are several factors here as to why Celtics win and lose. Obviously, turnovers are part of it. Points in the paint are the other point of emphasis because the team that's won the points in the paint battle has won every game. And so, you know, why is that? What happens when you get the ball into the paint? Well, it collapses the defense for starters. So if I'm Tatum and if I'm Brown and even Smart, the minute I get into the paint and you see the defense collapse, that has to be a quick decision instead of a one-handed fadeaway floater, which, by the way, Wiggins can make those now, which is fun. Yeah, again, he's been phenomenal. And this crow tastes great, by the way. But I do give a lot of credit to him having a career high in rebounds in the NBA Finals in back-to-back games. I mean, if you predicted that again, you're full of shit. You know, and again, not to take away from anything the Warriors are doing. You know, Steph had a bad game, they still won. But, you know, Kerr made that adjustment of having the help defender slide in. And I can't figure out how or why, you know, Tatum can't make a better decision, but it's costing them. It's costing them dearly. And not just him, obviously, but he's, you know, we'll get to him in a second, a little more on him in a second. Not having a true point guard for Boston has been killer. There was no one to set them up. And, I know that, when you break down a defense, finding the open man is the key, and they're just not able to do it, at least not consistently. We're in the playoffs at this point. We're in the finals, and they're not getting a new point guard. They're going to have to make it work with what they have. And they had Schroeder, not that he would have been the answer, but because they didn't play well with him. But, a Rondo type, right, would be perfect. Pass first point guard. Lonzo Ball, any of these guys, right, would be perfect. And they're going to have to either learn from their mistakes, or they're going to lose. And if they do lose, Brad's got some work to do in the offseason to find a point guard and to make that work. And to as great as this were, I think they do have a great roster. Top to bottom, they have a great roster. But the point guard is really a glaring need. Again, going back to this wonderful crow sandwich that I'm eating, Draymond Green, I said in the last episode, get him off the damn court, because he was legitimately playing that poorly. And if you want to argue that one, I can say if you play poorly out of 2 out of 4 games, you probably should be out there. But you know what? He's the energy guy. He's the effort guy. And God damn did he make the effort, right? He played with energy. And, Arturo said in episode 30, if you let Draymond foul you, you let Draymond kick you in the neck and the refs don't call it, he's smart enough to know he's going to kick you in the neck again. So, he fouled out. He's now, I believe, holds the first player in I think 30 years to foul out of an NBA Finals in this many games of NBA Finals. But he played great. And unless it's a Scott Foster game tonight, I'm waiting to see what adjustments Boston makes, if they're able to make those adjustments. But, it was just absolutely astonishing to watch some of the foul calls that were made. And again, I saw Warriors fans complaining about fouls. I'm sorry, Celtics fans were complaining about fouls. You actually had 12 less. So, you got less fouls called on you. And specifically, there was a series where Clay pushed down Marcus Smart and then stood there for a good 3 seconds before he shot his 3 and then celebrated, which, it was egregious. Everyone saw that. And on the flip side of that, Marcus Smart was being checked by Jordan Poole, and there was a phantom foul called where he pretended to get hit in the face. And you know what? As the king of flops and the king of faking it, I have no problem with Marcus Smart getting a little of his own medicine there, because that's like his game, right? He gets up into you, he makes you go a certain way, and then he takes that extra little step and then flops. He wasn't there. It's a block. But he'll happily just throw his body back to make it look like that he got shoved to the ground. I mean, let's be honest here. And let's be honest. And as egregious as that Clay shove off was with a no call, you're a grown man. You are a grown man. You don't weigh 85 pounds going against Shaq. You are a grown man. And so when you do that, it makes it hard when something happens like what happened with Poole, not to just laugh at it, because you're like, yeah, you do the same thing. You do the exact same thing, man. So, it is what it is. I don't like arguing fouls in postmortem, because it is what it is. He is Defensive Player of the Year for a reason, and I hope that he picks it up and just gets after it in a home game in Game 6, and does what he's supposed to do. But again, I don't have a real problem when roles are reversed, so to speak, and that flop happens, and you're like, yeah, you kind of probably should have had that one. I'll give him that one. Something I watch here, speaking of that Poole foul just quickly, but something I noticed here, and I still play basketball down here in Puerto Rico, and, angles are everything. And if a ref doesn't have a good angle, obviously they shouldn't be making the call, but all they're doing is reacting to the reaction. And so you can see now, without reviewing it, right? Without reviewing it, you can see how a bad call like that could be made. But, we're looking at a pivotal Game 6. And I'm looking for the Celtics to be better decision makers, keep playing good defense, keep making the stuff that's working work. But if I am a little bit skeptical about tonight's game and how it might go because Steph Curry did not make a 3-pointer for the first time in over 200 games. That's kind of a big deal, and yet the Warriors still found a way to win it, and they're doing it through their defense. And again, it's really that help defense on drives. You get the guy in your hip, and then here comes the second defender, and no one's looking to pass. So I'm gonna look at the rest of the roster. As it relates to the Celtics, looking at the Warriors in the non-Steph minutes, in the non-Steph possessions, Wiggins, Poole, Clay, can Draymond play like he did in Game 5? It's the others, right, that they talk about. It's the non-star, so to speak, that's going to have to step up for both teams. And when you're the greatest shooter of all time, I highly doubt, just probability statistically, that you're going to have 2-0 or 0 for games in a row. So the games in Boston, there's a chance that it could be happening, but I have a feeling that they're going to make their adjustments. The Celtics will, and hopefully the big three, quote unquote, for Boston are going to learn from the last game. I mean, this is the kind of stuff you teach in a youth basketball clinic. When you make your drive, you stop with both feet and you turn and make a nice crisp two-headed pass right into the shooter's pocket at the 3-point line in the corner or wherever. So, that's a basic move, and Tatum and on the rest are just not doing it. The one-footed fadeaways, that stuff's got to go, man. You're not getting those calls. This is not the first round. This is not a regular season game. It's the finals. And I'd be shocked if they started giving them those calls in Game 6. And again, it's about learning. It's about seeing what the defense gives you and taking it and being smart. The Garden's going to go crazy tonight, as they rightfully should. And I think if the big three play well, they should be able to tie it up and send it back to Golden State. But, the bench has got to play well too. Because if Tatum doesn't shoot 50%, or 40-something% from three. If Brown has another bad game, that they need someone from the bench to step up. So usually at home is where you see that, and especially when you have short rotations. There's one of these 7 or 8 guys has got to step up and help fill that role. So again, Artur and I both predicted Boston in 6. That ain't happening. And I suspect it'll go Game 7, and we'll be back across the country playing Game 7 in Golden State. And, again, if the corrections are made, and that's a big if. That's a big if. Your weaknesses have now been exposed, so now you have to force yourself to stop doing it and play the right way. I think when I think about Tatum's game in particular, and even Brown, is a contested 2. Right, they're taking contested 2s and long 2s, and as a coach, I've always told my players, the best shot in the game is an open shot. The best shot within that is a layup. Obviously, if you're open and you're by the basket, you shoot that ball no matter what happens. So an open shot is a great shot. I mean, whether it's a layup, a lower percentage would be a 3, obviously, but it's still a good shot because it's an open shot. You have time to set your feet, grip the ball properly, and then get your shot off. The worst shot in the game is a contested shot. I don't care who you are. I don't give a shit who you are. A contested shot is a bad shot. It's a lower percentage shot. In fact, you can search for, there's a statistic out there. It's a significantly lower percentage shot when it's contested versus an uncontested shot. So let's talk about why that is. Why are the shots contested? Ball movement. They're not moving the ball. They're saying, I'm going to do my thing. I'm the one that's going to bail us out. And again, that goes to tightening up. That goes to not having the experience. That you think you can beat 5 guys that are on defense by going 1-on-5. And I'm not going to, I don't want to delve into this too much. But again, I'll take a contested, an open shot over a contested shot 10 times out of 10. But I think we have to have that talk about Tatum. Because I know he's young, he's doing great things. And again, these records he's breaking at double-doubles of 20 and 10 and all that stuff are great in the modern NBA. And he's doing it against guys who did it in the non-modern NBA somewhat. So, it's a little bit misleading because where's the leadership? And I'll take it a step further. This guy openly talks about his love for Kobe Bryant and studying under Kobe Bryant. This guy wears a Kobe Bryant armband into a game. Well, where's the killer instinct? I know he's young. I'm not going to shit on him for being young. But you're the one telling everybody that you want to be like Kobe. I watched Kobe play. I don't remember Kobe ever acquiescing to the team. I don't remember Kobe ever saying, oh, it's okay if we lose. I sure as shit don't remember Kobe throwing his arms in the air and quitting and not getting back on defense. Now, you say you have Mamba mentality. Kobe never would have been this soft. Never. And if that's your idol, if that's Jayson Tatum's idol, then you better start playing like him, bro, because otherwise, knock it off. You sound like when you throw your arms up in the air and you cry to the officials, you sound like the kid at the playground that talks a lot of shit and he's got the expensive shoes, but he can't do a damn thing, right? And I'll tell you what it comes down to. What it really comes down to is locking in, being focused, being a true leader of your team. And I hate to say it, but if you want to be Kobe Bryant, you need to be a fucking psycho because that dude was a psychopath. And Jordan was a psychopath too. All the greatest players in this game that had that mindset of I'm going to do what needs to be done. I'm going to take over the game. Were psychopaths. That's just the reality of it. So Jayson, time to psycho up, baby, because otherwise this ain't it. Don't ever mention Kobe's name again if this is the bullshit you're going to produce where you're crying to officials and throwing your hands in the air. But it's not, I'm not going to put it all on Tatum, obviously, because he has teammates who didn't perform. Looking at you, Jalen. But don't tell me you're the next Kobe, okay? Until you start acting like, a serious player who really wants to win and really wants to play the way Kobe played. Until you do that, please don't say it again. Just please don't talk about it. Because that's not how he would have played. All right? Not how he would have played. So I'm about to finish washing down this crow with some Medaya. Can Tatum do that tonight? Hopefully. I hope he does. I'm not looking for anybody to fail. But, you can't be out there chest thumping and saying, I'm the next Kobe or I want to learn from him or be like him when you're not even in the same stratosphere competitively. Not even close. Kobe never went off 1 foot trying to go around contact so he wouldn't get touched going to the rim. He wouldn't have done that. So, at any rate, can they pull it off and make this go 7? I believe they can. I think they have the talent to do so. And we're going to see what adjustments that they make, right? What adjustments they make. One of the last things I'll say is that when you think about the greatest players in the world and you think about how they played and you think about winning, and you can use the Warriors as an example of this, it's called unselfish basketball. It's called when I see Grant Williams open in the corner, when I see any teammate open, I'm passing them the ball. And I've told this to selfish players that I've coached and that I've trained, is that when you are the greatest player on the team, or you think you are, being a ball hog is not going to win you games when you're playing 1-on-5, especially against teams that are like the Warriors and the number 2 defense. You aren't going to win that way. And what you would have to do it in the context of the game, right? So you drive to the basket, you say, no, I'm going to do this by myself, and 5 guys are waiting for you. So if you think it's all you, I'm going to tell you right now, Ricky Bobby, it ain't. All right? It ain't. All right? You want to have the NASCAR hood that says me, not going to get it done when you got a good defense you're playing against. But here's the thing, and this is what great players truly understand, and unselfish players really understand. If you are good and your double team comes and you pass the ball, there's a very good chance you're going to get the ball back, which means that double team is negated, and now you got your one-on-one matchup and you can go right to the rim. And it's unabated, or you're going to get a foul. So the selfishness at times, it's pick and choose. Contested? No. Guy steps up, share it, get it back. Now you can be selfish, right? It's in the moment. When does it make sense for you to do that? And it is about the team, and you got help around you, and just understanding that concept. I personally think it's a detriment to say I want to be like Kobe, because we don't have that in today's game. We don't have that. Is KD the Slim Reaper? Sure. Is KD also a freak of nature who can shoot over anybody? He is. But KD ain't putting up every shot of every game all the time. He's smart enough to know when to defer, right? So if you're going to play, I need to get mine, then this is it. This is over tonight. This is for the Celtics. If the Celtics are going to play, I have to get mine. It's going to be over. If you have multiple options on your team, though, and guys that you trust, and again, that's a huge word when you're playing team basketball, I need you to trust your teammate. If I'm the coach, that's what I'm telling if I'm the email, I'm telling him and the rest of the team, you need to trust and play for one another. Because that's what's missing, that trust. When you see selfish basketball, there's no trust. And as you erode that trust, your role player's confidence shrinks. Because they're wondering, I'm here in the corner wide open. Why didn't he pass to me after one dribble instead of waiting to two, and then there's a hand in the lane and the ball's deflected? I didn't get a chance to shoot. So now instead of Grant Williams taking like 7 or 8 shots a game, or more if he's making them, he's taking like 5, right? And I use Grant as one example, but that's how that works. Your teammates lose confidence in each other when they don't share the ball. So when that ball's swinging around, you don't have time to think. You don't have time to process how many touches do I have, all that stuff. It's in the flow of the game. So sharing the ball more is going to be something tonight that I'm looking for in the game. And what do they do when the double team comes? Because if they can beat the double team and they're at home and the bench plays well and they're sharing the ball and they keep playing the defense they're playing, they should win. They should win. So again, when we're talking about keys to the game and all those things, those are the things that I see happening tonight. If you are following me on Twitter, I'm Binkowski. The show has its own handle at TDBP Official. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you are on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate us 5 stars, leave us a review, and we will see how this game goes and have a recap for you very, very soon. Thanks for listening.